Welcome to another episode of Rev Your Week.
You ready? Let's go. Yeah. For those of you that want to know what we're all about.
Hey, this is Jason Curley, and we are revving up your week. I'm excited to be talking to you today, and don't forget, as always, check us out on our website, jasoncurley.me, and also go and connect with us on Facebook. And you can do that at facebook.com/jasoncurley.me. I remember when I first became a follower of Christ, and it honestly was confusing. And the reason why is it seemed like everybody was trying to tell me how to have a relationship with God. And it usually started with this list. Hey, you've got to put God first. You got to put your family second, your wife second, your family in there. You've got to put your career, and then even in ministry, it was like you got to put your ministry in there somewhere as well. And I started sitting down, I was like, what in the world, and how am I supposed to do this? Because it was a little confusing with me, honestly, because if for me on a list, the thing that gets the most time is what goes first on that list. And already I was working an 8-hour, 9-hour, most of the time day. And so I was thinking, man, if I have a 9-hour a day job, does that mean I have to put God and pray for like 10 hours? And if I was praying for 10 hours and my job was 9 hours, did that mean I had to be with my family for another 9.5 hours? And that didn't even add up to 24 hours. And when in the world was I supposed to sleep? And so that automatically was confusing. And then everybody would tell me when and how I was supposed to pray, and I'd read this and I'd hear this pastor say this and all that, and it was also confusing. And I just finally had to sit down and go, God, how in the world am I supposed to put you first when it seems like everything else gets in the way? I mean, when I try to pray in the morning first thing, I mean, that's because they say you got to wake up and you got to spend that time with God first thing in the morning. Well, I'm not even a morning person. I don't even get going really till 8 or 9 o'clock. My mind is really starting to work then. And man, when most of the time my morning prayer sessions turned into 45-minute nap sessions. Hopefully, I am not the only one that's ever done that as well. And I was confused. I was like, God, how do I do this? And finally one day, he said to me, he said, stop putting me first and put me in the center of everything. And I was like, what? Don't put you first, put you in the center? And it kind of worked like this. I recognized that life carries over into all areas of our life. You have your family, you have your career, you have church, and you have you. And I started recognizing that all these things really did carry over. What happened in my family, a lot of times would carry over into work. If I had an argument at home, then that would carry over, and maybe I'd have it set the tone for my day. Or vice versa. If I had a bad day at work, man, I'd come home and I'd be agitated. I'd bring that home as well. And I started to recognize a lot of times my work would carry over into, it would cause me maybe not to be able to go to church. And all of that, I recognized every area was not compartments. They weren't just single compartments of all these boxes that I had to go. And I had my God box, and I had my work box, and I had my family box, and I had the rest of my life box. And I had to just equally divvy out this time. I recognize that life carries over into all of them because that's my life. And so I realized that I had to take God out of his box. The little box I had created, and the little box everybody told me to put him in. I had to take him out of that box. And I started realizing that all these areas, and if I can make a little example for you, all these little areas kind of created a little spillover into each area. And if I took God out of his box and I put him right in the middle of all these little areas that carried over, all of a sudden God was in the middle of everything. And so I realized I needed to put God in the center of all these areas of my life. I need to put God in the center of my business and my work. I needed to put God in the center of my family. I needed to put God first and foremost in the center of my life. And if I would do all that, if I would put him in the center of it all, then he would be first. How does that relate to you and your life and business? Hey, if you put God in the center of everything, God will begin to work that out. Live your life at home with God in the middle of it. Make the decisions. Live by his principles as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a mother. In work, live your life by his principles. If you're the business owner, set these principles that God has given us as the foundation of your business. And the same is true of your life. When you do all that, you put God in the center of everything, God is first. And the word is really clear. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. Hey, I'm Jason Curley. Don't forget to connect with us on the web, on the internet, at our website, and especially go to Facebook, connect with us there, and you have a revved up week.